a program named, of course, What About the Boys Foundation, which is started by the YouthStart Foundation in partnership with Prime Stars. They started a program called What About the Boys, right? Let me just rephrase that. And on Thursday, they released the State of the Boy Child 3-year Impact Report, which is a bold and urgent reflection on the realities, challenges, and transformative potentials of South African adolescent boys. And we need to unpack this because we've seen a lot of conversations happening on social media and the impact of certain programs on the lives of young boys. And I like the fact that now it's a 3-year report. So we have quite a nice measure also encompassing the pestle aspect, the macro environment of the continent that we live in and the impact of our boys. To unpack this a little bit further, we are joined by Refiloe Mohale, who is the General Manager of the YouthStart Foundation and Executive Lead on the What About the Boys program. Refiloe, thank you for this program. It is a gift to us. You're already acting in your name. It's amazing. How are you today?
Good morning, and happy Youth Day to you and the viewers of Channel Africa.
Thank you so much for that. Happy Youth Day to you. We are young and we're also young at heart, so it applies to everyone. Let's talk about this. This 3-year impact report. It's quite a nice timeline to be able to measure, the different aspects of life. We're able to measure the financial impact of it, the social impact of it, the environmental impact of it. What is in this report?
Well, the State of the Boy Child report is a powerful I like to make the analogy of a mirror, one that both reveals both crisis and opportunity for us to actually look at what is the state of the boy child in South Africa. And of course, there's a couple of reports that have also come out about boys internationally in Africa and worldwide. But this one specifically looks at our young boys and the impact of GBV on them, and of course how we would like to use this program, or rather how we are actually using this program as a preventative measure against gender-based violence under the National Strategic Plan, Pillar 2, which is social cohesion and prevention.
So essentially, we're giving back the onus to the potential perpetrator, meaning, when we look at the numbers, statistics say that it is the boy child that perpetrates the action of gender-based violence, right? We're looking just as the majority, just for context's sake, right? What has been identified as an ongoing trend in the past 3 years?
So what we have clearly seen throughout all the townships, all the rural areas that we've run the program in. And we've touched just about 60,000 boys, 180 high schools right across the country, right across the sectors, different economic circumstances as well. What we can clearly see is that the boy child is seemingly left behind. Thing is, a lot of work, very important work, has gone into supporting the girl child. Actually, we also started Take a Girl Child to Work Day 20 years ago, and helping females break through the glass ceiling, gain meaningful employment, and of course opportunity in the workplace as well. But the boys are the ones that are disengaged in our schools. They are the ones that are committing suicides. Just yesterday we had a horrifying news report of the 4 boys that were shot because they tried to rob an Uber driver. And these are all minors. They are the ones that are filling up our jail cells, but also looking at university and employment statistics, we see that our boys are the ones that are being left behind. And we have been a very strong advocate for the support of the boy child and the girl child equally, so that we can raise them up together for a just and equitable society. Because what we have seen is that because our boys are starting to be left behind, they are actually not ready to deal with a strong, confident, successful a young woman. So we need to make sure that through the program program's pillars, that they are able to, to be able to communicate their emotions in healthy ways, that they can resolve conflict, without having to use their fist in positive manner, that they can regulate their emotions, that they get support, trauma support, because a lot of our boys are struggling with trauma because we tell a young boy that he can't cry, that he has to be tough, that he has to be strong, and we trap them in these unhealthy societal norms of masculinity. And that's why now we see the boy child actually acting out the way that he does in society when he becomes the man.
And when I read the report, and I've read the brief that was sent, I kept dwelling on the what about the boys. It is a very strategic question, and also the strategic way to name the organization, because it is a question that needs to be asked. What about them? But now I want to take it a step further, because I feel that, and I think a lot of women can empathize with the ideal that a lot of the responsibility of the boy and the girl is usually on the woman, kind of banking on our nurturing nature, on our mothering and our maternal instincts. So who's responsible for the boys? I mean, we can't take on more as women. They're responsible for the girls. They're responsible for themselves, their safety, not thinking that we're going to be the next victims. So who is responsible for the boys? Who are we asking, what about the boys?
So we have, it has been said many times that South Africa is a fatherless nation. And one of the problems that were constantly also coming up out of our program from our young boys is that they don't have positive role model figures. Our boys yearn to connect with older men. They yearn to ask them about, some difficult questions that they may not always be able to ask the woman in their lives. And females have done amazing jobs by raising, our young boys. There's many good men that have been raised by single-headed mother households. But what we are advocating for in this program, is that men come back into the lives of young men. They need to be mentoring. They need to be nurturing, because that's not just the role of a woman, by the way. Men need to be nurturers as well. And to stop ceding the responsibility of guiding our young boys to the female counterparts. And that's something that we did very deliberately in the program by asking men from different organizations to come and partner with us and volunteer their time in, having intergenerational dialogues with our young boys. As soon as we ask for mentors, females would have been the first, people to put up their hands and say, we want to come and assist the boy child. But we were very deliberate in asking men to come into that space. But I want to make one point very clear. The tagline of the program is raising a nation of good men. And it takes a village to raise a boy. Of course, it takes a village to raise, which comes from takes a village to raise a child. But we might be, as Prime Stars and the YouthStart Foundation, running the What About the Boys program, working with our boys in high schools, but they go back to their schools. That's why we involve the teachers as well. But outside of their schools is then the family, the nuclear family, and then society, and at large. And every single person actually has a role to play in how we raise the boy child. Society needs to change its norms in how we put pressure on men to be real men, where we actually place the value of a man in how much money that he has in his bank account, how many women he can tick off as having encountered and had a relationship with, how many people that he can beat up in the community, him being feared. But we need to start putting an emphasis on good healthy masculine norms, such as men who take care of their families, men who are protectors, men who are allies to women and girls in the fight against gender-based violence, men who are able to stand up and advocate, for no violence against women and children. And of course, men that are not willing to stay silent in the face of injustice. Those good attributes are what needs to start coming out of a society, because every single person actually influences in the person the boy child becomes.
And let's talk about the program that you have, this film-based program. I mean, how does it work, and how is its effectiveness? Because I also am drawing the comparison between what the boys consume in media and how they're emulating behaviors that they portray in the media, the likes of violence and toxic masculinity, and the man is always a superhero and must always come save a woman, and just kind of ideals like that. How does a film-based intervention now alleviate that? How does it work with the boys?
So Prime Stars and the YouthStart Foundation has been educating young people across South Africa on different topics, this one being GBV prevention, specifically working with boys. And our key differentiator in the youth education and social impact space is by using edutainment, which is edutainment as well. And we use powerful mediums such as film, which our young people are actually very receptive to, visual and audio, of course, and we tell our stories on screen through relatable characters. Refiloe gets to see a character on screen that he's able to relate to, a character that looks like him, a character that sounds like him, has come from similar circumstances. And this character then goes through a hero's journey, and that's where we start unpacking different topics that we want to get across to the young people, whether it might be consent or harassment, bullying, drug and alcohol abuse, LGBTQI community. And we then use those movie scenes as topics of discussions in our mentorship sessions with the boys. And we also have a booklet which we call a Good Man Guide, that unpacks the lessons in the film. For instance, in the movie, you might see Tato touching Relebule inappropriately. That scene will then be illustrated in the booklet, and then the mentor gets to engage with the boys, on that specific topic. And it's not a lecture; it's really a dialogue that we have with our young boys. And we want to debunk certain myths. We want to challenge, some thinking that they have that might be wrong, but also empower them to be able to make the right decisions for themselves, because it's in that empowerment that the young boy can really start to own what he believes is right and wrong, and therefore can be an advocate for that as well. So we've got the movie, we've got the booklet, we've got mentorship sessions that are in the form of dialogues in cinemas, but in the rural schools we actually have mobile cinemas where we set up projector screens, laptops, so no one is left behind. And then we've got about a 6-month mentorship dialogue with safe spaces in schools as well. So I fundamentally believe in the power of film in being able to teach our young boys. And this program, as mentioned, has touched over 60,000 boys across the country, and we've had over 300 men that have volunteered their time to come and have these dialogues with our boys.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. Refiloe, what's the plan for the next 3 years?
So, look, seeing that this is actually, the 3-year impact report, it's a very good time for us to actually look back and use. Oh, I've got the report right in front of me, by the way.
Exactly.
I see this. My screen is blurred. But this report is going to serve as a basis and a foundation for us to be able to move on to the next 3 years and how we are looking to expand the program. But we want to localize it more to different areas in the country. We want to translate our booklet also into different languages, just because we've learned that, for instance, learners, in Alexandra, in Johannesburg, might be very au fait with the language, but a young learner in Toyando might not, understand and grasp the topics as much. And also we want to include local CBOs and organizations that work within communities to extend the impact of the program, empower them, give them content, give them our booklets as well. And we also want to expand our partner network, the people that actually fund this to make this possible. In fact, right now I am wearing a sweater. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's What About the Boys?
Yes.
So one of our partners, Markham, has actually made this program a business case, and they are selling What About the Boys sweaters and t-shirts to help the sustainability of the program. So every sweater and t-shirt that gets sold gets to include a boy child in the program. So we're looking for like-minded partners that are willing to join us in the fight against gender-based violence, because gender-based violence is not just a 16 days of activism thing.
Yeah.
Every single day, we need to be doing something.
Amazing stuff. Refiloe, thank you so much
for...
we want
to increase the reach and impact. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Refiloe. And we'll be sure to share your guys' details on social media, because we've run out of time now. We need to get into the news. But thank you for your time today and the work that you do. It is at 10 a.m. Central African time. It's time for news.